Hi, this is Mark Soden for Wonder Valley Experimental Virtual Edition. I'm here with Matthew from Hiram.
Hi, my name is Matthew Hiram. I'm a musician and environmental sound artist from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
So, the first question is what started you down the path to the sounds that you are making now?
So I've been making music for a long time in various forms. I think a lot of people have kind of a lifetime journey that way, and it evolves as we change and grow up. So I play a lot of different instruments. I went to school for instrument building, guitar and violin building. And play guitar and drums and like to explore as many instruments as I can get my hands on. I come from um, a punk, noise, folk, improv kind of development over my trajectory. And I've really kind of, over the last few years, I've been trying to really deliberately calm down and just bring a sense of calm and peace and really realized how much art and music has become that for me in this sense of peace and a way to really channel and focus that and have it feel deliberate and it works. So I've been looking more and more for ways to bring peace to myself, bring that into my music. A lot of it is connecting with nature and the sense of, that sense of connection to the earth itself and different ways to incorporate that into your work. Um, so from performing and playing outside or using field recordings and different ways, thinking about different ways you can actually like engage with the environment or, um, researching aeolian harps and wind generated music and this sort of like automatic natural music that could be there if you kind of harness these energies that happen. So a lot of it has become more focused on the natural world as a source of inspiration. Um, and a lot of the themes I use, are nature themed, but then I kind of explore the different ways of connecting to the environment, and try to bring as many different sensibilities into the work to reflect that.
Do you have a favorite piece of gear that you were using for Wonder Valley 16 that you would like to show us?
Well, it's a little tricky to pick a favorite piece of gear. That's a tough question, I have to admit. I struggled a little bit with that question, and I'm going to take it because you got to pick a favorite. It's fun, right? So the what I decided to show, it's not necessarily a favorite, but it's one of the new ways that I've been using. It's called the plant wave. It's a data sonification device that's made to connect to plants and read electrical frequency variations in the plant. And then that's translated to MIDI and you can process it through your rig and have these frequencies to interact with and adapt. So that's kind of one of the latest things that I've been experimenting with as another way to really touch and feel what I'm doing. So I have a little setup here behind me. I don't know if you can see the electrodes here that are attached. And this is the plant wave device. It's a very small rechargeable little brain processor I have running down into a synthesizer. So it's currently, I don't know if you can hear it here. Yeah, let's see. They're coming through.
I'm not hearing much. Is it subtle?
Subtle. There's some
It might be
there's
too
some,
subtle for Zoom.
yeah. It may not translate in Zoom. Yeah. So this is some of the new gear that I've been using over the last year. I have a new album coming out called Yucca Music that was recorded there in Joshua Tree and Yucca Valley
Mm-hmm.
last year, connected to Mojave Yucca and Joshua trees from there. in the environment. So that's coming out here just in a couple weeks. I'm not sure when this will air, but they're in February.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm trying to really kind of incorporate it into the setup and find different ways to interact with it, kind of writing sequences around the different patterns that you're hearing and using it as a complementary tool in the setup. So it's a tricky thing to travel with, you know, driving from Minnesota with a potted plant or like what, I thought about actually sourcing something there locally and different ways that you could do it. And part of what I love about it is the unpredictability, but that's also, of course, one of the challenges of, taking that into a live, it's like actual improv because you really don't know exactly what you're going to get. But that's what keeps it interesting. It's kind of lovely that way.
Outstanding. Where can people find your release when it comes out?
So yeah, it will be February 2nd. It'll be on my artist Bandcamp, MatthewHiram.bandcamp,
Mm-hmm.
on CD and tape and through the Bandcamp. And then the next weekend it'll hit major streaming and be on all the different platforms.
So, how do you prepare for a performance?
Well, this is, kind of a unique setup where it's a good question. How would you prepare specifically for a plant performance? I probably won't take it much differently than any other performance. It's usually based on improvised themes that feel right. And a lot of it comes down to establishing a time set. You have a 20-minute set. So you know how much time you need to have prepared, have the gear ready, and know what your setup's going to be. And with those two elements in place, and you know the gear and you know the time, then you explore different themes and you find different ways that feel dynamic and interesting to fill the time. And it feels kind of reductive to look at it that way, but it helps me to kind of form what needs to happen. And then a lot of it is finding these themes and trying to repeat it. You know, I'd like to try to get it to the point where it feels closer to jazz where there's an established theme and you play around on it and it's not like it's coming out of nowhere. There's a reason you're making these choices and it's based on really exploring the material and understanding the different dynamic push and pull. So a lot of it is formed from improv, and then you kind of structure it to the point that you could repeat it or have certain elements, maybe a sequence or a field recordings that are always the same or different cues, but it'll come together based on the gear table and I try to really get it to the point that it feels like natural repetition and really you really get a sense of the flow and where it needs to be by the how to travel from the beginning to the end and feel like the narrative is through and it really connects and that's the rehearsal process.
Is there anything you'd like to add to end the interview? Do you have performances coming up before Wonder Valley Experimental? Or
Nothing booked currently, no. Just to check out the music. Thanks so much for the opportunity. It's exciting to be able to talk about my music. I'm glad to have a chance. I'm really excited for the festival. It's going to be a blast.
absolutely. Thank you so much. So this is Matthew Hiram, who will be performing at Wonder Valley Experimental number 16. And this is Mark Soden for Wonder Valley Experimental 16 signing off.